And of course, I want to remind everyone that our database for backtested channels is now up and available. You can sign up as an early adopter and use the promo code LAUNCH70 and you'll get 70% off of your subscription price. We have, well over 300 tests at this point. We keep uploading more tests. We got 16 months worth of data, so back tests for 16 months. So you get a pretty good idea of a channel's, profitability, performance, behavior, all that stuff. We've got some channels that do as much as, or have done as much as 200%, over 200% return. We've got some that don't do any return, some that I think you'd be surprised because they're popular, well-known channels, and they don't make any money. So yeah, multiple.ai, definitely check it out. So for today, I figured not only would I do a backtest, but I'm actually going to walk through the process of doing a backtest and show you how the software functions. So to start, what I do is you have to add data. The backtester is going to want to look for a symbol, a specific symbol, and it will use that one symbol to perform tests on all the symbols that come through. So what we do is we use a platform called TickStory. They do have a free version that you can use. You want to download that and install it. And once you get it installed, it looks like this. They have paid versions. They've got free versions. You can use the free version, and you want to add a symbol, a custom symbol, into MetaTrader. So I'm going to show you how to do that. What I test with is I just use XAU USD. So you want to right-click on that. You're going to go Export to MT5, and you're going to export both bars and ticks. Okay, so we'll want to start with bars. You want to set your date range. Okay, so let's say we want to test for the month of May, which is what we're doing in this case. So I like to go May 1st to basically June 1, just to give it enough data. Your time frame is going to be 1 minute. You don't need to bother with adjusting your time zone. And your output is MetaTrader 5 bar format. So you're going to click OK. It'll give you like a download location. So you're going to click OK, and then you're going to do the same thing for tick data. Okay, export to MT5 and then ticks. Okay, same thing. You're going to adjust your date range to match your bar data. Okay, and then your time frame is tick, and you're just going to go OK. So it's going to be downloading both of these. All right, and so once those are downloaded, I'm going to show you how to create a custom symbol in MetaTrader 5. All right. All right. So to create a custom symbol, you're going to go to View and then Symbols. And you can see we've actually got custom symbols here already. And you're going to go Create a Custom Symbol. And then it's going to give you like a term. So you're going to enter a name. Right? So let's say XAU USD test. Right? We'll just call it test. And then we'll click OK. And you can see it's inactive. So we'll double click on it and activate it. And then we're going to go up here to this tab, Bars. Okay, you're going to import bars. First, let's do this. You want to set your date range. All right, so we're going to, remember we downloaded May, so we go May 1 to June 1. And then we'll go import bars, browse, and then we'll see our bars and our ticks, right? So we're going to select that, click OK, and then it imports them. And then we're going to go ticks. Click on the ticks tab, and we need to do the same thing. We want to adjust our data range to June 1. And then we're going to go import ticks, browse, and then basically we're doing the same thing. We click OK, and then it's going to start populating the tick data. Then we go OK. So now that's done. So then what we want to do is we want to go to settings, and we're going to set our date range in settings. You're going to pick your custom symbol, right? So you can see I actually have a number of them. So here's test, the one we just created. For this test, I'm just going to use May, and then you're going to set your date range here, right? And now, what you want to do down here can be pretty important, right? So you're going to select just your custom symbol. And then I do every tick, profits and pips. I do a server-based delay to emulate. It really doesn't matter what you choose. If you choose 0 execution. And then for optimization, I disable it and I check visual mode to make sure. And what that's going to do is when you click start, it's going to pop up that window and start paging through the data. So the next thing you want to do is you want to look at your inputs, and this part's pretty important because it's just like the copier, except that you've got an ID field for your backtest. So there's a couple things you want to do to start. One is your difference of time in minutes, MetaTrader time versus your machine's time. Okay, so my machine is actually running Pacific time, US Pacific time, even though we're based here in Chicago. So I have to put in an offset that is 540 minutes older, or 540 minutes behind the MetaTrader server time. Okay, so that part's important. And then this is going to be where your backtest code goes. Okay, so when you run the backtest and you pick your date range, right? So let's say 5 of 2024. So when you start running this backtest and you click generate code, it's going to start pulling data. It's going to assign a random string, basically a 6-character string, to the CSV file that it's creating. Okay, and so that's where the data actually comes from. So if you run these tests and you're like, well, why didn't it trigger this, or why am I getting this? You can actually go in, you can find that file, and you can edit the data manually if you need to. And that's something that we do all the time. And the location is in your app data / roaming folder in your C drive. Okay, in MetaQuotes, go into terminal, and then it's going to be in common. Okay, so in this case, I've got both the copier and the backtester, and that's where they live. So for the backtester, there's all your CSV files. So I've got tons and tons and tons of these things. So this specific one, RT9 FCA. So I'll go ahead and open it so you can see. And this is for the channel that we're going to be testing today. This is a real interesting channel. It's actually an AI-based channel that someone shared with us, a customer shared with us. And it's not ready for prime time yet. It's actually still in testing, and there's a few format changes that he's making to it. He approached us to say, hey, what's the best format? Here's the things I'm trying to achieve. So we're advising him on, hey, here's the best way to format these messages so that you can, that it's easier for your customers to use, right? RT9 FCA. So it's an interesting channel. We'll see where it leads. So here's what it looks like. So once we run that test, and here's the thing too, is you can actually, once you run a number of tests, you can call up older tests, right? So here's an older test that we did, and it will show you, what the profitability was. In this case, this one lost $200. I don't remember what this one was from. I think it's from a channel that we added last night to the database. So anyway, you're going to go ahead and click Start. And then we'll see this window pop open, or maybe we won't. Let's try that again. Because when you select an older test, it deselects this visual mode. MetaTrader 5 backtesting environment is not my favorite. So you can see it's starting to page through the data here. And it'll start populating trades after a little bit. So, but before I talk about this, the test results for this test that we're going to show you, I do want to, I'm going to stop this and I'm going to talk a little bit about the backtesting environment, the actual tester environment, right? So when we're in the tester environment, it's a little bit, it's separate from the toolbox, right? So the toolbox is going to show you all your trades, right? Here's the channel that gets traded by the copier. These are different because these channels or these charts are actually built on a custom symbol, right? And they have the backtester added to them. So when you go into tester, see you have this button right here, tester, and you can go back and see old tests or what have you. So this is how you get into the tester. Sometimes we have customers that are a little confused by that, or they'll run into issues. Like if we look at the journal here, it'll tell you basically what's going on. And if you get an on init error in the journal and you're not getting tests to run, it's because your data is corrupted. That's a data corruption issue. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at the test results for this channel that I was talking about, this AI. It's an AI derived channel, and the only thing they trade is Euro USD. That's all they trade. Which is interesting because if you know anything about symbol profitability, Euro USD is the most popular, and it also tends to be the most profitable. I know that gold is like, everybody loves gold. Gold's okay. Sometimes it gets a little crazy, and especially these days, it's a little crazy because, basically you're competing against the Federal Reserve and the US dollar. Anyway, and so that's why you get those crazy wicks. Like on some of the candles, the wicks are just insane. If this is your first time here, we always run the same test. Start with a $10,000 account, and we do 0.1 size lots. And we don't do any trailing stop. We don't do any kind of signal edit or modification. We just want to see how well the signals do. Okay? And so for this specific channel, we did about 14%, 14.39%. Now there's real limited data for this channel. It doesn't have a whole lot of, like I said, it's still in training and there's still some changes that are being made. But I like the format because it's easy to work with. There's not a whole lot of setup involved, right? So, if you've used a copier, you know that in order for a copier to be effective, it has to kind of accommodate a wide range of use cases, right? And sometimes it's hard to predict what those use cases are. And so in order to do that, it does require some manual setup. And I know that some people don't like that. We get people that complain, oh, it should just be ready to go out of the box. Yeah, like we know exactly what's going on in your brain, and the world revolves around you, right? You're going to have to work to make money. That's just the way that life goes. So the copier is built with, a setup process in mind. Anyway, so let's take a look at the equity curve. So not too bad for this specific month. I mean, we did have a pretty high watermark here of almost 28, about 18%, 18.8%, I think. And then we saw a little bit of loss and then some recovery. Trades all sessions, primarily U.S. market seems to be like the biggest volume. We can see entries by weekdays, entries by months, May, of course. Statistical scattering of wins and losses. This is real interesting because you can see that our losses all cluster here. which I like to see. I like to see kind of we have like a, you know, lower risk than we do reward. And this thing trades a lot of symbols. We'll take a look at that. Average holding time, right? Um, Smallest is about 5 seconds. Um, yeah, you can see all Euro USD and a lot of signals, a lot of trades. I mean, it will just kind of waterfall into these things. And I think I see some channels that will use the term martingale, and then that's what they mean by martingale is the interpretation that I have, where they're just like, you got a movement and you're just constantly layering in, right? To me, that's not what martingale means. Martingale is like a ridiculous gambling strategy that people, for some reason, think is profitable. Layering is a little bit different. So that's what this does. It layers a lot of trades. So as I was running through the backtest, I noticed it would have 10, 15, 20 positions open at a time, just kind of layering into them, right? So for us, we just do 0.1 size lots. I think for the guy who's doing this channel, he's got a little bit different risk profile. I think he wants to have kind of a staggered lot size is what he's advising users to do. So we'll see how this goes. Yeah, so you can see that's a lot of trades. A lot of trades. I mean, like look at where the cursor is, and we're at nearly 400 trades. You can see so many trades. Yeah, 1,725 trades. That's pretty crazy. Anyway, kind of an interesting channel. It'll be neat to see where it goes. Yeah, I think something like this is a lot better than just some of these sketchy Dubai-based guys that just constantly trying to scam you into giving them money, and it's just, I don't like it. But this is interesting. I'm interested in this, so I thought I'd share it with you.